The other one, I guess, would be Matt Burke, just because not as much of a character. He kind of was, but I
sense of humor.
Yes, the dry, for sure. He was tremendous at that, and I enjoy that sort of humor too.
Yeah, I think of a lot of guys. I go back to Fran Tarkenton in the beginning, and when I first started with the Vikings, I was this rookie PR guy, and I walked into the locker room. I said, "Hey, Fran, Channel 4 wants to talk." "Oh, I'm not talking to you." And then he, of course, smiles and says, "Oh, sure, no problem." So wanted to bust me a little bit, and we were talking today on my podcast with Jim and talking about the famous game in Detroit when the team was late for the game.
Oh yeah,
and Francis was on bus 1, running up and down the aisle on the bus. He's saying, "I'm doing my warm-ups," and he's running up and down the aisle on bus 1. It was very funny. He was a character. Keith Millard, always a character. Maybe not the easiest for the media guys, right, Jim? But
he could be really good, or he just needed to stay away from him.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah. Exactly. And Johnny Rando was one too, for sure. And just as I said, so many guys. And Chris, I had a very close relationship with over the years, and so. But I was very fortunate that really had almost always had good guys to deal with, and didn't have any real jerks and possible guys and this and that. But those are some of the guys that come to mind, and even going back to the old days with that whole group on that defensive line, and Carl Eller Jim Marshall was just a terrific guy, personality, and Alan Page and that whole group. So lots of great Vikings, lots of great stories.
And I still enjoy the fact that a lot of those older guys. I mean, I wasn't around covering the team when like Alan Page or Jim Marshall, but most of those guys are still around in the Twin Cities, and that I appreciate that how close they've stuck together throughout the years.
Yeah, definitely. I think that shows the kind of camaraderie that those teams had, and I think one thing that was different in those years was the lack of turnover. The teams didn't have 20 guys that turned over year to year because of free agency or because of the salary cap, and basically it was the same team for many, many years back in the late 70s when I first started, and Bud Grant didn't like to make changes. He liked his veteran players, and we'd have maybe the first and second round pick make it. Everybody else got cut. Yeah. Today, every draft choice makes it, whether it's on the roster or the practice squad. Yeah, exactly right. They're going to hang around for a while.
Yep. One thing that you mentioned Bud, and you mentioned Fran. Did you happen to see this SEC Network special that they did on Fran Tarkenton?
I have not yet, but I want to see that.
It's very good. I got a preview of it. I've got a link to it that showed. I watched the whole hour program. It's very good. Just taking him through his days at Georgia and everything that he went through to get to the NFL level, going to the Vikings, and then traded 2 times back and forth to the Giants. It's really a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story. And there were a lot of characters in the front office, in the training room. Fred Zamberletti.
Freddie, yep.
Sorry to say, I'm going to his funeral tomorrow. Yep. And terrific guy and a great friend for 40, 50 years. And he will be sorely missed. And but he had a ton of stories, and he ruled that training room. And I remember going to the facility in March for an opening event, and I saw Fred. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and he says to me, "Come on, I want to show you the training room." And so we walked in there, and he goes, "Now look at this. There's 3 tubs, and there's this cryotherapy chamber, and all this stuff." He goes, "This is too nice. The players are going to want to be in here too much. We never want the players in the training room."
Well, and he was always
that was typical Fred.
Yeah, well, he was always the one making them push him around in a golf cart. I mean, I can't tell you how many of the old time players I've had say, it was the worst thing in the world to be dealing with Fred. You couldn't wait to get back to practice.
Get healthy.
Had nothing to do with his personality. They loved him, but he worked them pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly right. And so that's going to be a sad time, but also a celebration of Fred and the kind of person that he was too tomorrow. And it's going to be quite the weekend for sure with all the events with the 20th anniversary of the 98 team, and then the opener on Sunday with the 49ers. And so I'm excited about the weekend, and then I'm excited, as we were talking on the podcast today, I'm excited to be doing a show on WCCO Radio on Monday nights this year. Nice. And we're going to be working with Harrison Smith on the early shows, and kind of the Harrison Smith show, basically, and talk about issues of the day, talk about the 49er game, advance the Packer game on Monday night's show. It's going to be at the Lone Oak Grill in Eagan, if I can give them a little pub. And and so 5:30 to 6:30, if everybody wants to come out and see Harrison, and we're going to talk Viking stuff and NFL stuff.
And if you want to hear more from Jeff Diamond, you can also check out his show on our network, talknorth.com. It is Jeff Diamond's Vikings and NFL Insider.
There you go.
And highly recommend that. You're going to get a lot of the cool kind of stories you just heard. Thanks today to Tim Yotter. Thanks to Jeff Diamond for making the effort to come out to Mississippi Pub. Thanks to Mississippi Pub and Beaver Island Brewing for hosting us. And we will. And unless you guys have a quick final thought, we'll say see you next week.
Vikings 27, 49ers 17.
He's putting it out there.
Oh yeah, boy, I hadn't even thought of it.
I'm saying Vikings 25, 49ers 16.
I'll go 23-13. I think the Vikings.
We're all 9 to 10 points. Okay.
Yep. And one other
So we're guaranteed to be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope not.
Yeah. So just so people know, though, when we're talking about Fred, they are going to do a tribute to him before the game on Sunday. And then the halftime stuff that they've got with the 20th anniversary team, and they're doing the flyover and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a game just filled with entertainment, and I guess they're having new introductions and all that stuff.
They do put on a good show at that stadium.
No doubt.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to spending a season talking about the Vikings with both of you. Thanks for being on the network. Thanks to anybody who came out to hear the show tonight. Thanks to Mississippi Pub and Beaver Island Brewing for hosting and supporting us. We will be doing another live show at Mississippi Pub next month. Follow us on social media, including Jeff Diamond NFL on Twitter, at Jeff Diamond NFL. Follow us for links and for future live show dates, and we will talk to you next week.